If you love highlighter but you really prefer products that don't have sparkle in them, then this is the video for you. I truly think that this is the most approachable kind of highlight. In this video, we are specifically going to focus on cream highlighters. I think so many cream highlighter formulas nail the no sparkle, pure glow vibes. And there's more options out there than you would think. I have a wide range of products at a variety of price points, and I'm going to show you swatches in detail and try on all of the formulas that I talk about. Before making this video, many of these products have been staples in my collection. Starting off with a formula that I have loved for over a year at this point, this is the Hyper Shine Light Pigment from KJH Brand, and KJH Brand is owned by Katie Jane Hughes. She is a makeup artist and she has a very good understanding of makeup products and makeup application. These highlighters are incredibly user-friendly. They come in these little pots. I love to just dab them on with my finger over a full face of makeup, or honestly just on bare skin. She also has something called a Hyper Shine Serum. So if you're looking for an even dewier glow, you can actually add a drop of that into the highlighter and mix it in with your brush and then just apply it that way. In the demo, I am applying light gold, and the deeper shade I have swatched on my hand is called Light Copper. Totally serious when I say I have had no letdown in products from KJH Brand. The next formula I'm going to talk about is from Danessa Myricks, and this is probably one of the most unique formulas that I'm going to talk about. The goal that Danessa Myricks had in making this product was to create a lit from within type of glow. I have seen a lot of other creators who are really intimidated of highlighters or who don't like highlighters really enjoy this product. You can see when I swatch it, it's not particularly shiny or wet looking for that matter. This is what all 4 shades look like swatched on the back of my hand. I love seeing such a deep highlighter shade as well. That is just not something we see very often, and it's not surprising given that it's Danessa Myricks and her brand is incredibly inclusive. When I apply this pink shade to my cheeks, I think you can see just how beautiful it is. It has a glow and a good amount of pigment. Like, you could use this as a blush lighter for sure. This is a texture that will apply just fine over your other products. If you want to look glowy but not dewy, this could be a good option. Okay, next we have a formula that I've talked about on my channel several times before. This is the Rare Light Cream Luminizer formula from Rituel de Fille. What I specifically really love about this formula is that you get so many fun shades. It's surprisingly hard to find fun and interesting shades in the cream highlight formula. And I feel like they're constantly coming out with fun shades too. The one that I'm demoing is the purple one called Sylvan Shine. It's the newest one in my collection. The one on my hand is the shade Solaris. This is another formula where I feel like you get pure glow, no sparkle of course, but also not really a dewy finish. In this second demo, I am putting on the shade Lunaris, and I do believe that shade is currently available at this time. They do have a bunch of these more colorful shades and some more neutral options. And here's another shot where you can see labeled swatches of a lot of the shades that I have from the brand. Next, I have a product I feel like is not talked about very much, and this is from Half Magic Beauty. This is the Beam Trap highlighter. Fun fact about this highlighter is that apparently it was used quite a bit by Donnie Davy on the set of Euphoria. One thing I really like is that you get a deeper shade, kind of like bronzy shade, and a more champagne shade mixed together in the pan so you can customize a depth that works best for you. It does come in green cardboard packaging that's compostable, and you can pop this into a magnetic palette if you'd like. I would say that this one isn't overly dewy, but it does have a slightly more dewy finish than the other ones I've shown so far. Look at how high impact this one is. I can totally understand why it was used so much on set. I feel like there's just something about this type of highlighter that makes the skin look so healthy. Next, we have a highlighter from a relatively new brand called God Mode, and that is a gaming inspired brand. They came out with this Genesis highlighter that basically comes in this little metal egg. At the time I'm making this video, the highlighter is only available in this beautiful green shade. Love how bright yet grungy this one is, and I've seen people with a wide range of skin tones really look great in this shade. You could apply it with your fingertip, but I also like just taking the product itself and applying it directly to the skin that way. I have a little demo here where I put it literally everywhere on the cheeks, nose, mouth, even on the inner corner, brow bone, and décolleté. Such a beautiful formula, and I truly hope to see that they decide to do more shades in the future. Next, we have the Haus Labs Glassy Highlighter Balms. These came out earlier in the year. This highlight is all about a wet finish. I don't think I have another formula quite like this one. I really enjoy the products from Haus Labs in general. The thing to know about this product is that you really have to be going for kind of that wet, dewy look. I've done a wear test with these and have found that they last really well. This is the shade Glassy Opal, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the shade Glassy Topaz. I found that it does apply well over makeup. I have heard that you do need to be careful if you're applying it over powder. I would probably take it and apply it from a brush rather than directly from the product itself, just to minimize moving around your other products. Hopefully you can see in this little demo that you really do get that glassy wet skin effect. I really like the packaging on these too. It feels luxe. Next, we have a shade from McGrath Beauty, and I picked this product up because so many people had been talking about how much they love it. This is the shade M97, which is described as being a glassy rose gold. I would say there are definitely some similarities with this and the Haus Labs highlighter, just in terms of its overall effect. It's not quite as glassy looking as the Haus Labs. I would say that the texture of the cream itself does have a little bit of a dewy finish. It feels a little bit wet when you touch it and apply it, but I don't feel like it stays that way. It does feel like it dries down. This product is definitely more about the finish and less about the amount of pigment that you get from it. You do get a slight tint, but not as much as some of the other shades like the Half Magic and the Danessa Myricks. Next, we have a formula that I'm actually new to. This is from RMS Beauty, and this is their cream luminizer formula. I've definitely been curious about trying this formula and products from RMS Beauty in general. This is a little quad that has 4 of their shades. Like many of the formulas that I've talked about so far, this is a balm. Now, the pigmentation on these is very sheer. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I was a little bit surprised. I think this is a formula I would recommend if you're going for a very subtle glow. And up to this point, I would not describe the other formulas that I've tried on to be subtle. As I'm applying it, you can definitely see it, and it looks very natural. Maybe even like you would wonder, am I wearing a highlighter? I would say it does look really beautiful on the skin. Next, I have a really unique formula. This is from a brand called Espressoh, and I wasn't expecting just how intense this highlighter would be. It comes in this little almost like toothpaste tube. You have to be really careful not to squeeze very much out because, like I said, it's very high impact. This is the shade Copper, but they do actually have 2 other shades too, like a lighter gold and also a pink shade. I was actually surprised by how user-friendly this formula truly is. And I would actually say that you do get a blinding effect from this highlighter, which I feel like you generally don't think that you would with highlighters that don't have sparkle. It definitely dries down. It doesn't feel tacky on the skin. I was genuinely surprised by how much I love this product. I would say that everything I've tried from this brand feels very high quality. Next, we have a highlighter from McGrath. This actually is the most expensive product that I'm going to talk about today. I honestly haven't heard too many people talking about this formula, but basically it's a little duo where you get a shade on one side and then the other shade is like a clear kind of balmy highlight. You can see when I swatch the shade Copper, it has a glowy look, not really a dewy look. That is the shade that I ended up applying to my skin. I had a little bit of difficulty getting the product to apply very well right off of the highlight stick. I ended up picking up the product with my finger and dabbing it onto my face. I enjoy a lot of products from Pat McGrath, but I was not blown away by this formula. But I do think it's cool that you can customize the finish by adding the clear balm over the shade to get a little more of a glassy look. Okay, now we have a very affordable makeup option. This is Mega Glow Makeup Stick from Wet n Wild. This is the shade Dusty Pink, and I would describe this as kind of like a blush lighter. I feel like the overall effect is somewhat similar to the Danessa Myricks lowlighters that I showed earlier. I do think that the ones from Danessa Myricks are more high impact, but I do like that you get some pigment from these ones from Wet n Wild. And the price point is truly incredible. This is definitely a formula I haven't really heard people talking about. It's a formula I previously wasn't familiar with, but I'm actually really impressed. And I think this pink shade is really pretty. Next from L'Oreal, we have the True Match Lumi Highlighter Stick. My product looks a little funny because the cream got dislodged into the cap during transit. This is a super high impact highlighter though, and this is the shade 630, which is basically like a very pale champagne. The cream itself is very soft. You do get a lot of product even on kind of one swipe or application. When it's all blended in, it looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. I love finding drugstore products that apply like high-end products. In this case, I think where you see most of the difference is in the packaging. I'm keen to try this formula in other shades. And here is what all of the formulas I talked about in this video look like swatched on my arm. All of the labels are from the wrist down. I really enjoyed making this video because I truly love this kind of highlighter, and I do feel like it's very approachable, especially to those people that may be a little bit more intimidated of highlighter or just simply looking for something that is a little bit more day-to-day friendly. I am curious to know in the comments if you've tried any of these formulas, if you've been curious about them, and I'd also really like to know if you'd like to see this type of video but with powder highlighters. I would say that I think that finding powder highlighters that aren't sparkly is definitely trickier. As always, I really hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.